year. So I'm going to be spending today setting up, putting it all on my computer because we don't have access to the Seattle database.
How come, Katie? Have you not set that
Because
up?
we don't have internet where our office and our store is. So, you know I'm going to lose another day setting it up on my own system manually on my accounting program to try and find the $184.
But if you have internet at your house, I mean, you can get onto the Seattle database.
Well, I asked
Yeah.
last year to be given access to it, and I in fact I asked twice, and I never got it.
Who did you ask?
A certain somebody who's overworked at St. Vincent de Paul.
Okay, ask again because well, who's your conference president, Katie?
Barb
Okay.
Erickson.
Okay, then she should be able to assign everybody
Yes.
codes and everything, so we can work with Barb.
Okay.
Okay.
Katie, I'm glad to help you anytime you want any help. I'm here to help.
Thank you very much. You know, all our quarterly reports match our bank statements. And I used to do accounting for a large firm. So, you know, I know that having matched everything, we've just got to have an entrance. Either that or the bank is charging us $12.50 a month that we don't know about.
Well, it should be on the statement. If you're looking at the statement, you should be able to find any charges that the bank may be.
Exactly.
Yeah. Claudia, who is the other person? TERUELP.
Oh, that is Debbie.
Debbie.
Perwell. Debbie, where are you? What conference are you with?
She's muted.
You're muted, Debbie. Deb, can you unmute yourself? Okay, I've unmuted you, Debbie. What conference are you with? Okay, maybe Debbie stepped away.
Okay, and I think Oliva mentioned that she's not familiar with the database. Oliva?
Yes, I kind of new to these trainings, so I guess I'm in the process to learn.
Okay, like I said to Katie, I'm here to help anytime you need any help. So feel free to contact me. You have my email address and the email that Claudia sent you with some of the handouts. So if you need any help, you can reach out to me. Katie, the same for you if you need any help.
Thank you. If you hear from me tomorrow, don't be surprised.
Don't worry about it. That's fine. Okay, so let's, Claudia sent out a handout that kind of has general guidelines of how to do your work as a treasurer. I'm not going to go to the whole document because it's several pages, but I want to point out a few things that has been stressed out to me in the past and that I think is worth remembering, and is that we need to be checking the activity of your bank account frequently.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because if there is any fraud, you need to detect it as soon as possible. St. John Vianney Conference has had twice problems with the checking account where fraudulent charges have been made, and we discovered it because we were checking the online account frequently. I don't know if you all have access to your bank account online to do that, but I will encourage you to do that. As a treasurer, you should be able to do that. I don't know which bank do you bank with, but all the banks that in this area allow you to go online and see the activity. So you do that. The other thing that it should be done is make sure you balance your checking account every month. Because it's easier to figure out discrepancies when you're just working with a one statement from last month, that when you're working 6 months ago trying to figure out what happened. So encourage you to balance your checking account.
So one quick comment, the 2 documents I sent out yesterday, for those who maybe hadn't let me know where you were going to be, I've put them into the chat so you can download them from there. They're called
Thank you.
Treasurer Training and XYZ Conference Sample Report.
Okay. The other thing that I don't know if you are aware, as a treasurer, when you get a donation of $250 or higher, you're supposed to send out a letter or a thank you note for tax purposes. I don't know if you were aware of that, but that's also one of the things that people forget to do, is to send those letters. St. Vincent de Paul encourages us all to have cash accounting methods for our treasurer process. I'm sure that Katie would be able to explain it much better than I can, since she has the background, but basically is you only report what you have deposited into your account, not donations that are going to be coming to you in a week or 2. No, you only report and only you enter into the database what you have deposited, and you only show as expenses or as outgoing money checks you have written. So it's not, you shouldn't be handling cash on the side. I was at a training and find out one of the conferences that they have a little box with cash that they use to buy little things. And that's a no, because there is no way to track that. There's no trace of that money. And we should be able to balance to the penny every month. And if you have cash off to the side, how are you going to do that? I don't know if you have any questions regarding that. Also, as a treasurer, you're supposed to file your reports quarterly and then yearly. There are some conferences that don't have to do the quarterly, but we have to do the yearly report. And this year is the first year that we also have to upload the information into the national portal. Are you aware of that?
No,
Katie, you're not aware of that?
no,
Okay, because you're not on the database,
yeah,
you're not using the database, that's probably why. But as a user of the database, once you log in and you're a treasurer, you are reminded very clearly that you have to do that. So
okay,
I think the first thing for you is to get access to the database and make sure that you are designated as treasurer. So maybe that's a good way to start. Can I start sharing now?
Sure, that's
that's a
great.
great way to start. Thank you. Thank you, because I know what I've got ahead of me this weekend. I would love to have the database.
Can you see the screen?
It says login?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
Can you all see? This is what it looks like when you go into the Seattle database. I'm sure that the others might be familiar with this screen. And so I'm going to put this database that we're using today is called Training Contra Costa, and it was only for today, I guess, so be able to show you how to get into the different screens, because we're not supposed to be using our own data. So let me get into it.
and that's really from the confidentiality standpoint.
Yes.
And then also too, if she starts making changes, then she's not making changes to our database.
Okay, so you see, Katie, this big
yes. Yes, I
orange
do.
That's when you log in, you will get that. And that's how you get into the portal for the national reporting.
Okay.
Larry and Danny and Debbie, have you seen this in your screen?
I've been using the database for 5 years.
So you're familiar with this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, thank you. Okay, as a treasury member or as a treasurer, you and the president and the vice president, only the officers are allowed to see the treasury pages. No one else can see the treasury pages but the officers. And only the treasurer can do any changes, can enter data, change data, delete data from the treasury pages. So that's one thing you can remember. So when you go to the roster here, you're indicated that you are the treasurer, okay? And so this is the only person in this database that can do any changes to the treasury pages, okay? So in order to go into it, you just click on the treasury pages and you come here. So here it shows that we have no checking account set up for this conference because I wanted to show you how to do it. Katie, for you, this is probably what you will start is by adding your whatever accounts you have, whether you have 1, 2, or 3. I don't know how many you have. Some conferences have a checking and a savings. Some conferences just have a checking account.
Okay.
So you add account name. We can say Test Bank. I don't know. And the bank name can be Mechanics Bank, whatever it is. And then you add the account.
Okay.
So there you have. So now you are set up with this account. So if you go into it, now you are able to record a payment, which is a check or a draft that comes directly from your account, do deposits, and you can reconcile the account, okay?
Yep.
So since we don't have any money in the bank at this point, we can go in and pretend to do a deposit today. So here, deposited by conference or direct deposit. Most likely is going to be deposited by the conference unless you get people donating directly onto your account. I don't know, but most likely it's deposited by conference. The date is 10, let's say that was yesterday. And the source you can put anything you want. Usually I put church members because those are the majority of our donations come from our church members. And then the amount, let's say $10,000. Also, if this is the first time you're starting, you can say that the source is the initial deposit into the account, because you're basically kind of opening the account for the first time. And then you have to, here, these categories were defined by the national conference. This is something that everybody has the same categories. No one can change these categories. No one can add to these categories because these categories correspond to the report. So what is members? Members are St. Vincent de Paul members that are donating money to the conference. If you specifically know that that money coming from one of the members. Church is if the members of the church are donating the money to your conference, which is probably the majority of the money, probably through your Fifth Sunday collection. If you have any fundraising, you can indicate that. Other St. Vincent de Paul's, if you are twinning with other conferences, then you indicate other income if you get grants, I guess, or something like that. So let's make this that came from the church members, and then you save it. There you go. So now your balance on your account is $10,000. Very easy. I wish it was that simple getting money like this. But any questions so far? Any things that you want me to explain better or differently? Okay. So to get out of here, you just either go through the main page. You can go back to the main page and you're here, and there's your treasury page. Okay. One of the things that was stressed out to us was that we should try, I don't know if your banks do, but our bank gives us the statements starting at the beginning of the month with the cutoff at the end of the month. Evidently, there are some banks that do middle of the month cutoff. They are encouraging us to ask the bank not to do that and give us a month end so we can report the entire month. Is that how it is with your bank?
Does anyone have it differently?
Well, we use it online. Our statement doesn't come until the 10th, but if you go online, you can print out your statement on the 3rd, and usually by the 4th or 5th, we've reconciled.
This is Katie. We do the same thing. We take it off of online so we can get the dates we need.
But your statement dates are monthly dates.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. So let's say that we are going to then
Make a pledge.
let's go to one of our clients. Okay. I have to admit that our conference doesn't use the active file. We don't have a call center or anyone that takes the calls and then assigns the calls to someone else. We, during the pandemic, have 2 people that get the calls and then call another Vincentian and they take care of the call. So I'm not very familiar with the active file, but I can try. So
Doris,
yes.
the way
Yes.
we use the active file is if somebody calls and they're making a request, whether it be for utilities or rent, then we put them on the active file. And it's usually, particularly during the pandemic, it's been for rent. So we put up rent, but we know we're not going to be able to pay $5,000 because we're small conference. We're going to go to either season of sharing or hope, depending on the eligibility. So we put them on the active file and make notes in there, made home visit, the date, provided neighbor with season of sharing requirements, and then say that as we get them, we've gotten everything but maybe the tenant landlord agreement or the W-9 back from the landlord. So that's why we use the active file. We know that we still have people that we're taking care of, but we're waiting on them to provide us the information to continue to seek assistance.
But so you never close the active request?
We close the active file if season is sharing or hope, or if we've twinned and we've paid it. Now we make a pledge. The pledge then shows up on the treasurer, like that annual report shows up right there. Pledge has been made. Now the treasurer can go in and pay that.
Because the only way, well, I have to admit, I'm not an expert on this because like all of you, I kind of learned as I went along. But in our conference, we never use the active file. When we have a request, we go directly to this screen, which is when you
Right.
find your clients, and then you do the search. So here I have a neighbor called Mary Jones, and if we want to do anything to help her, we go to this screen. We never go to.
Right, right. That's exactly what we do.
Oh,
And then, like if you've made add request,
okay.
So go, okay.
and then you're gonna continue,
You see, we don't
and then
need,
you're gonna put in that date, the category, say she's asking for rental assistance.
okay, let's do that. So we're going to go and say rent
You passed it.
there. And
And then say she needs $2,500.
okay. And then
And
the
then that's all we would do. We would hit save and new.
save and new or save and done?
Save and
Save and
new.
done, I'm
And that
sorry.
may, no, save and done or save and new?
Save
Oh,
and done.
Oh, save and done, sorry.
Okay. So-
Now you see it's in the red. That puts her on the active file.
right. Okay.
Now, if I made a home visit Monday, I would put in Monday's date, and then maybe we bought her a box of food. Well, then we could go to additional help
Uh-huh.
and say that we gave her $100 worth of food. No, you would go to additional help.
But
Or
but
you
that
could make your note, you would add a note,
uh-huh.
and then in the add a note, in the red area there, add a note. No,
Here.
there, right there.
Uh-huh.
Click that. And then in the add a note area, click in there. It's going to turn yellow. In the white area.
Just right here.
Yep. Now you would put your date in, home visit done, and then any notes that you want to make concerning your home visit. And what you're starting to do is set up an account for Mary Jones so that 6 months from now, if Mary called back and said, hey, I need help with utilities, you're going to go, oh, well, we helped you.
Right. Right.
You know, so now you've set it up, but now by doing this, we're gonna, once you put your note in, you can hit save request. That note's gonna be in there.
Mhm.
And then she's still gonna be on the active file because you haven't completed, you know, that you're going to the Hope or something. That's a 2 to 3 week process. So that's why we keep them on the active file until that gets resolved.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, but all of this has nothing to do really with the treasurer. This
Well, in a way it does, because then if Hope, or say that we were twinning and we got the money and we paid it out of our checking account because we got twinning, if you've made that a pledge, then you're going to make a note in there, and then the treasurer can pay that, because then you go in there and put pledge. That means the treasurer can pay.
Right. What I'm saying is the fact that you gave some food to the neighbor doesn't affect the treasury report. What it does.
No, I'm just saying to make notes in there.
It does.
So that as you do this, now you're giving her a history that at the same time you did the home visit, you gave food. And that's also the amount of food is in kind that's going to go into the reports.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see.
I'm sorry.
Let's go and see. Let's add the check that, let's say that we decided to pay the 2,500, that we were very generous and we were going to pay 2,500. You need to close the request to, in order to say that you issue the check, that you pledge the check. Isn't that correct? I'm not there.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
So let's close and then write.
Close helped.
Yeah. Claudia, are you doing it?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So here we're going to say that today we wrote the check. And the value is going to be only, let's say $1,000 because we're waiting for somebody else to. And so we did that in person, and there's no other program. And then.
Well, you could also show programs, you know, that if it was out of area or everything, but you're right. Go ahead.
So
Pledge.
what we are pledging to pay this. These are the categories: pledge, prepay, in kind, and none. So pledge is when you're saying I am, somebody else is going to pay this money to the landlord. And then the payee is, okay, and then let's say there's one adult and one child, and the rent is $2,500. And then here is,
Well, we like, you have to put the conference member who did
yes,
the
yes.
data entry.
Okay.
Okay, and then you save.
Okay.
Okay, so
And then now you see it's taking it off the active list too.
right, and you see this green block here at the top. It says your treasurer has been sent a notification email about your pledge. So that's why the treasurers have to be in the database, and they have to be their email address connected to this, because that's how you know somebody else is asking you to write a check for $1,000 to Mr. Landlord. Now, I'm sure in your conference, you're talking between each other and you know about it, but this is one way to know that a pledge has been made, okay? Now, so this, I am the treasurer now, so in order to be able to go into the treasurer's pages and record the payment, you click on this button, okay? You see that? It turns green, and then it says record payment. Have you seen that before?
Yes.
Dan is shaking. You're muted. You're muted.
I'm unmuting you, Danny.
Oh, hi, Gloria.
Hey.
Okay, you have not seen this before?
No, no.
Have you used this at all? Are you familiar with it?
Well, I have, I learned it from Tony. He is the main man in our conference. And we just, I just learned how to log those members in and things like that. But I mean, in detail, in more detail like this here, I'm just learning. So maybe I'm gonna have to go back and ask you or Gloria later in in future about this.
So,
yes.
Let's say that we're going to record this payment for $1,000.
Doris, if you uncheck the show hide payment buttons and go back to the treasury page, will not that check be in outstanding pledges also?
No, because the system doesn't know that you're going to write a check. It just says that you pledge one.
Okay.
And so for the treasury to be able to.
No, I checked the box. I was just curious that if it would be in the.
No.
Okay.
It's not quite that smart.
So you go.
Neither am I.
So it brings you here to the treasury screen where it says new payment. So you can say here, you say it's going to be a check. The number is 1001. The date is today. And so here at the bottom, you see that it says, this is the date. The client is Mary Jones. The payee is Mr. Landlord. And authorizing 1,000. You enter here the amount you're going to actually write on the check. So we're going to write the check for $1,000. Why is this necessary? Is because sometimes you might pledge, for example, you're buying furniture for a neighbor and you pledge $100, but when the bill from the store comes back, it's only for $75. So here is where you can change. Yes, it was authorized to spend $100, but the store only charged you $75 for the furniture. So you can change it here, okay?
And then Doris, don't forget at the top to pick which your account you're paying from.
And
Oh, yeah.
category.
Okay, and then the category here, you are, this is for rent, so it's housing aid. Not,
I was told to always use 6, client
No.
aid.
no, this year, as of last year, they gave a new category and they want to separate things between client aid and housing aid to make sure that we can tell how much was for housing, how much was for other things. So when it's housing, when it's rent, it should go into housing aid. I'm sorry, Larry, but that was.
It's all right. It's not your fault. You don't shoot a messenger.
Yeah, and so the payee, and then the payee is Mr. Landlord. Okay, and then you save. And there it is, the check, and it lower your balance. Now, if you want to look at that, you can go back here and it shows you exactly what you did. You can close it again, and there you go. You can delete this. You can, let's say that you wrote the wrong check, you can change the number, but let's say that you want to change the amount, or you don't want to, or you decided not to write the check. This is one way to delete the transaction, but it's something that you shouldn't be doing, especially if it's a couple of months later, because it can really mess up your records. But anyway, using this, you can make any changes. You can edit this again. And let's say that the check was not for 1,000, but it was $900. At this point, you can change it. Okay. So this is, and if I go back again, here it is. Yes.
Sometimes we use our bank, the card rather than a
Yes.
check. Do I put in for type? Is that like I can put in the credit card?
Like
Yes.
you use
Yes.
your
Thanks,
ATM
Larry.
card.
Yeah, we do occasionally.
We
So
use an
that would-
ATM card. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be a new payment.
Yes.
And then when you click here, it should be a withdrawal.
Okay. Okay. Just wondered where to put it. Thank you.
Well, I think we had another category for that.
You have check, direct payment, or withdrawal. That's the only, there are the only categories for the type of payments.
Well, we might put direct payment.
Well, that's when you, like when.
If I'm using an ATM card to buy,
Direct payment is when you order checks and the bank takes the money out. That I consider that a direct payment. I don't know.
Okay.
Or if you
Okay.
do like an ACH transfer.
Or when you're transferring money, but I think a withdrawal is your ATM card is a withdrawal.
Mhm.
okay,
And in the categories here, you have up here at the bottom, if let's say that you're paying for your checks, that should be under.
right. I understand that, but the ATM then, you know, say we're help a client aid, in the number, what we use instead of a check number, it's always a consistent number. I think it's like 7850. So that when we go in to reconcile, it has, you know, the withdrawals. And so we know 7850 is from our ATM card.
And you withdraw money to give cash to people?
No.
No.
We make payments like, we don't go to the thrift store in Pittsburgh because we're out on the west side. And a lot of our neighbors cannot travel out to the thrift store with a voucher. So we go to the local, either Goodwill or some other thrift store that's local because it's less expensive overall. So we would use an ATM card there.
Ah, okay. But then you're recording that against the neighbor's file, the amount.
That's
Right.
correct. That's correct. It's a pledge.
It's a pledge. Okay, okay. So we don't do that in our conference. We always use a check for paying for anything. We pay by check. We don't have an ATM card.
Well, it's like we go and at Thanksgiving and buy our turkeys and we use an ATM card.
When we buy food cards, we use a check to pay for the food cards.
But they're buying actually at the store. So that's why, like, they're actually physically buying turkeys.
But
And
No, we buy gift cards too with the ATM.
because they don't take checks.
That's right. Because it says St. Vincent de Paul, but it doesn't have a person's name on it. So, you know, I understand them saying, well, how do we know you're from St. Vincent de Paul? Anybody could have a check printed up with a church organization's name on it. But if a personal name isn't on it and you don't have identification, so the ATM card is just so much easier.
That's part of the reason we use the ATM card also, Larry.
Exactly.
If you're going to buy $250 worth of turkeys, Safeway wants a name. They don't want St. Vincent de Paul.
Exactly.
I guess we have a good relationship with this supermarket that we buy the food cards at, and I always pay by check. Maybe because when we buy $5,000 worth of cards at one time, or 4,000, and so they know me and they don't. But maybe if different people in your organization is buying the cards or buying the turkeys, maybe you need to use an ATM card. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Claudia, Oliva seems to have dropped out.
Yes, she said she wanted to go to the spiritual training. She had asked me that. So maybe she wants to train with you when she's, you know, wants more one-on-one stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So I guess we can say there was a withdrawal and then the number would be 7777. Is that what whatever the number that they?
Yeah, the bank uses one number every time on our statements for our ATM card withdrawals. So we just use that number in the check number area because then we always know that was from the ATM. And then when you get your print out your statement, there's ATM withdrawals right there on your statement. So you coincide it. And then, you know, when you reconcile it and you see that number
you know what
and the matching amount, then it's all copacetic.
Yeah. And so for the payee, I don't know what you pay. You say
well, it's whoever you would pay to. Like if we paid to Food Max, we would put Food Max there.
Okay, and then the category then is client aid.
Correct.
Right.
And then you save it.
Correct.
So now you have this is not attached to any one neighbor because you're buying $50 worth of cards for multiple neighbors and you're not going to, but eventually, that's
well, what you would do now when you give out, say, that card to a neighbor,
then you are
in the treasury portion, that is prepaid.
Right, exactly. Okay. Danny, is that a lot for you to absorb? I'm sure that there's way too many things that is.
Well, yes, it is. It is. But I, you know, I would like to ask you if I have to go back here and watch this video again, maybe Gloria can give me a
Yeah,
website. So I can
we're
go back and
recording
check
and
it.
then we'll put it up on our YouTube channel.
There's
Right.
also another
And
video.
then in the future, I'm sure I'm gonna need help on this here, to understand more on this here. Can I ask you directly, Doris or Gloria?
Of course, you have my email address and the
Mhm.
email that Claudia sent you, you have my email. And
Okay,
Claudia, there is also a video from Joseph, the Seattle database manager. He has a training video that maybe we can make available to everyone as well. It will
Yeah.
reinforce.
I think we have that on the YouTube channel as well, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken.
Okay.
So maybe a suggestion, Claudia, what I have found in the last year and a half or so in helping the conferences here on the west side trying to get into this is to do a Zoom session and let them have their screen up so that you could be showing Danny if he had a pledge, you could show him on his screen, him doing it. It helps that. I mean, I'm looking at myself. It's easier for me to understand things if I was doing it.
Mhm.
Right.
As opposed to, well, here's a list of things to do. I get confused when I read directions. I get a little bit of understanding. I get better understanding by working with the software and knowing how to do it.
Sure. Sure.
I think it's a great idea, Larry. I think it's a great idea. And Claudia and I talked about that maybe we can set up a one-on-one session. And I'll be glad to help with that. I'll be glad to help with that. Okay. So I don't know if your conferences have several vouchers that you give out. For example, in our conference, we provide gas to the neighbors. And what we do is we have an understanding with the gas station that they will honor our voucher. And so we pledge $20 in gas throughout the month. And at the end of the month, the gas station sends us a bill for $150 for 6 vouchers that came through that month. I don't know if any one of you have that system
Oh,
or uses that capability.
no.
We used the gift cards. We can use our ATM and go buy gas cards.
Okay.
And now we have the availability, because if you do it at one gas station, what if the neighbor doesn't live near that gas station and needs gas? Whereas if you just give them a gas card.
Mhm. We in our conference decided that the gas voucher was the easiest for us. I understand that then the neighbors are forced to come to that gas station for the gas, but in the past, it has worked out for us well, and we continue to do that. So I'm not going to show you what to do when you have multiple vouchers coming in at the end of the month and to pay for with one check for all the vouchers. I'll skip that because there's no.
Yeah, we're a little bit unusual in that,
Mhm.
just because the gas station is just around the corner from the church, and we used to serve our neighbors with that kind of stuff directly at our office. So it made perfect sense. They'd go get the gas after they got the gas voucher, and it was pretty much a done deal.
Mhm.
So
There is one thing that I wanted to show you. Let me go back one screen.
go back to just treasury.
In the treasury, wait a minute.
Just hit the,
Let me go back to the main page and let me go back into the treasury page again. Here is the treasury pages frequently asked questions. This has a lot of information.
Ordered paper, the puzzle part's missing.
You see, it has all of these topics that you can click on and read about it. It has a lot of good information. So this is what I was talking about, number 8. How do I pay multiple pledges with a single check? I guess you don't do that, so there's no, but in here, you find a lot of information, how to add the account, how to enter the opening balance, how to record the pledge. So that's a good place to go and kind of read through the whole thing at your own leisure and be able to understand a little bit more what it's all about, okay? Claudia, how come I cannot go back? Oh, okay, let me, there, okay.
yeah, sorry.
Treasurer report. This is something that is, you can utilize at the end of the month. It tells you how much was your income. We deposited 10,000. We did $50 in client aid and $1,000 on housing aid. So our closing balance is this, but we have still an unpaid pledge of $1,000 because on Mary Jones, there was another request for rent payment that we haven't paid for. So that's what is still there waiting to be paid. So it's telling you, you have in cash $89.50 or in your account $89.50, but really $1,000 has already been pledged. Okay, so this is the report that you can use at the end of the month or at the end of the quarter to help you fill out the report, because it is in the same sequence as the report. You don't have to, you know, anything but just transfer the numbers to the report. The other thing is here, the outstanding pledges, it shows that we still have $1,000. Okay. And that I don't use this. I don't know what payments with clients detail, I suppose.
Just, yeah, it shows what's out there.
It shows the payment date, it shows everything. So, and you can export to Excel if you want to, okay? And then you can also check to list the report by different time periods. Here is this week or the month or the quarter. It's very helpful to have all this. I have to tell you, before the database, I used to spend a lot of time trying to figure out the yearly report, making sure you balance to the penny. With this database, it's so much easier to have your numbers all on the computer and the system be able to help you fill out the report. I don't know if there's any other thing that we need to show. The national portal, how to go there. I don't know if Claudia, would they be doing that? Everybody's supposed to, so.
Everybody's supposed to be putting all their data into the national portal for their annual report this year. And Larry, I believe you've already done that, right?
No,
Okay.
we just got our password was not working.
Ah, okay.
And then yesterday, so we will have our report in either tomorrow. Everything's ready. I mean,
Oh, great.
we have all the files ready. It's just to fill out the national.
Right.
But yes, if you and Danny and anybody that's new to this, if you start right now, because this is the new year,
That would be.
you are gonna enjoy it so much.
Yes.
Come January, when you do your report, it's just hitting a couple buttons and attaching it and emailing it. It's so much easier. It's just the whole idea that everybody has to stay on it, because if you don't, and plus you reconcile every month, well, you know, you're being transparent, you're showing everybody. It's very easy once you get into it. I think it's a lot of time it's the intimidation of not knowing.
Right, right.
So Larry, you know how to get into the national portal?
Yes, yes.
If you go here, you
And
go-
click there. And then you put in your ID,
and there's your national portal. So you-
right?
Where did
enter
hamburger
your-
come from?
And the username is usually the
It's
email address for the president of the conference.
That's correct.
What a
The
paper.
password was assigned to each one individually, of course. So, I,
Do you want me to log in, Doris? With me?
sure, or I can log in if you want me to.
Sure. Go ahead.
I think that's what it is.
No, go back. It actually populated right there. Just grab that one.
There it is. And the password, I have it here.
Oh, well, I've seen that email, Doris. I didn't know that was you.
No, that's Kathy Dassos.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, no, it's usually the conference president's email
Okay.
that's the member portal for the conference. Yay.
There's the national portal, and then you go to annual reports, annual reporting cycle. And then it shows here our St. John Vianney is on the right-hand side. It has the pencil still there because it has not been closed. So you can click on it and then make any changes. And when you go in for your own, you will only see your own conference. You won't see anybody else's.
And then one note, it says it's in progress because we've asked everyone to not finalize their report so that our audit committee can review everybody's before it's finalized. Because if it gets finalized, then we have to ask, and it wasn't supposed to be or hadn't been reviewed, then we have to go to national and ask them to unfinalize the report.
So is the reason that we're sending it to you before we finalize it, is it just because of the bank statements?
No.
It's because of everything, because everybody reports up through the district council's tax ID number. So it's our fiduciary responsibility to review everybody's reports before we finalize them, because then we use that information on our tax returns.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And I think it's Steve Crank is going to finalize the reports for everybody. And
Yes.
so we don't have to do that. All we
Right.
have to do is just leave it as in progress, and they will take care of the rest.
Oh, we don't have to do it. Once we send it to Steve, then it's all over?
Right, unless he
Okay.
has questions or comments or concerns. Yes.
And we also filled out the paper report and sent him a copy.
Right.
And that's when we send him copies of all the statements and the reconciliation page at the end of the year, the end of the fiscal year for the bank, the outstanding checks.
Yeah, because the way, just so you guys know, since we have conferences collecting money and dispersing money every year for our audit, it shows up as a single line item of conferences revenues and then conferences expenses. But that gets rolled up into our 990, into our tax return.
Okay, and so I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to log out of here. Okay, so here in this page, there's also frequently asked questions that is a little different than the other one that is on the Treasury page. He has a lot more information here as well. Talks about the 2021 annual report and helps you with the report. So there's a lot of good information in this tutorial, okay? but you have to go through here. I don't know how else you can go through that. So unless you have a login ID as a treasurer, you won't see this block and you won't be able to get through to that. I think it's the treasurer and the president that are getting this information. No one else is getting that. If we go back to the treasury page, the reconcile, when you want to, at the end of the month, to reconcile the account. Larry, have you used that?
I've been using it for 3 years.
Okay, good. Katie, this is where you reconcile the account. It says no statements found, so you add new statement. Let's say that the opening day was 10/1/21, and the ending in the opening balance was, let's say,
10,000.
10,000. The closing date was 10/6/17, just put it. And the closing balance was, I don't know,
What was it, 89.50?
89.50.
but let's put okay, 89.50, okay, and then continue.
Okay,
So there it shows you what is in the system, that there were a check for 1,000 and an entry for 50, that there was a deposit of 10,000, and this is the balance. So you go against your statement and it says, oh
Right.
yeah, here is the deposit. Oh yeah, I did write that check. Oh yeah, we used the ATM to get $50.
right.
And there it is, and it says you don't have any differences in your balance. And it creates a report for you that you can go back and look and see why you had outstanding differences. And this report, the one for September of this year, has to be attached to the report.
Okay,
To your annual report.
Yeah.
The report. This reconciled report.
okay.
Okay.
Yep.
If there were any checks that were not cash, it would show here as not being clicked. So it would show that, you know, the difference, and you know why your difference between your treasury page and the bank is $1,000 because the check has not been cashed or whatever. And this report is very helpful to figure out differences because it tells you exactly. If you don't balance to the statement, you know immediately why. Maybe you entered the wrong amount. Maybe instead of being $1,000, the check was written for 1,100, and there you know the difference.
We had a check that we wrote, say, for $2,400.88, and that's what we had in there. But when the bank cashed it, they missed the 88 cents.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we were off 88 cents. So we're, oh my goodness, you know, so we had to go through. But this is exactly why this is so wonderful,
Right.
because it showed you right away that, hey, you're missing 88 cents. We had to go through. We found that, changed the check, then it allowed us to reconcile.
Exactly. So it is, I think that this database has been a godsend to the treasurers because it makes your work so much easier. You don't have to cram all this information into a spreadsheet at the end of the year trying to balance all the numbers because it's all done for you. Danny, you have any specific questions, or Katie, do you have any, or Debbie, do you have any questions at this point that you want me to go through again, or any other explanations you may want?
Well, I'm gonna have a lot of questions about this topic here, but at this point right here, I have to go and I have to kind of involved in this, and then when I do, then I probably call you and let you know.
Okay.
Ask me. I think that's the best way right now.
Is your conference using the database already?
You mean, yes, we have a database there, but I'm just under Tony, which is the one that, usually do this here. And I'm just trying to kind of back up for him because he's kind of busy right now to do this. And, and right now I'm using his password and everything, just fill in for him because he's not there all the time for us. And
Remind me, Danny, which conference are you with?
Our
You're
Lady
with
Queen
Our
of
Lady.
War.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's. I just want to make sure I had the right Tony in mind. Okay.
Yeah, Tony, yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
What about Debbie? Does she have any questions?
Debbie, you're muted. I'm unmuting you if you have any questions. Are you there? Stepped away.
What about Katie? Are you, is your conference going to start entering the data from last year? Or are you going to start as of October 1?
I'd like to start as October 1.
Yes.
If I can get somebody to, give me access to it.
Okay, we'll get that squared away on Monday for you.
Thank you very much, Claudia.
During the training that we had a few months back with Joseph, that's what he recommended, that if you're not on the database, start at the beginning of the fiscal year. That would be so much easier.
Yeah.
So
we'll get you squared away, Katie, with the.
Thank you. And I won't write any checks until Monday.
Okay.
How about you, Larry? You sound like you know your way around and you know the system pretty well. So
Yes.
Yes, Larry embraced it when he became president of the conference at St. David of Wales and kind of,
Actually, I
Jump.
embraced it 6 years ago when it first started coming out, started using it before becoming president. And I did all the data entry and putting all the members in, the food pantry workers. And the whole idea is to start doing it, and it's for the future people. Because you've set the stone, the foundation. Now it can be perpetuated for the other members coming through.
Yeah, it's really great succession planning and just a good way of, God forbid something happens to somebody, the data is there and somebody can step in and work with it. And that's important for any conference. So and then once, we can work with conferences to, whatever glitches you might have or access you might have, we can hopefully help you with that as well.
There are other reports that helps you. Oh, it locked me off.
Yeah. Any other questions that people have? And anything else as a treasurer that we can do for you at the district council level that we haven't been doing? Or the things that you'd like that we continue to do? The treasurers kind of get, left alone, but the expectation is a lot for a treasurer. So we appreciate the work you do.
There is another report that is also useful when filing the yearly report, is this report, because it gives you also information of the in-kind that you have to report, in-kind assistance. This report gives you the financial plus the in-kind report, in-kind assistance given. I don't know if you use it at all, Larry.
Yes, we do all our data entry. Every home visit, anything that we do is data entered.
Okay. This is a good report. There is also another one, but I don't know how it was this report.
Yes.
Slightly different. it gives you, maybe it's not this one. I think it's the part A. Let me go back. Part A. Yeah, this one. It tells you how many people you saw, whether in person or whatever, and the amount of assistance given throughout the year. And so you have a lot of reports that you can run at the end of the year or at the end of the quarter to help you, write the report. So like Larry says, if you are consistent entering the data into the system, makes the reporting a lot easier than if you had to do it all at once at the end of the quarter. And balancing every month your statement makes also a big difference. Like you said, you were finding, you had 88 cents difference. If you are trying to look for 88 cents in a whole year, that's a lot of time. And Katie mentioned that they are looking for $280.
184, but we go month by month too, and all of our statements balance. So I don't know what it is, but I'll find it.
Good luck.
And
Thank
also,
you.
you need to, when you're doing your data entry, after you're done, go into the hours recorded volunteer, and you can put in your hours as a volunteer when you're doing your data entry. So if you've spent 2 hours doing data entry on checks or whatever, National at the end of the year wants your hours, because you get our hours are given credit. Correct, Claudia?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it lets us, when we're reporting out to the community, on what our 752 Vincentians do, we say that they contribute an average of how many thousands of hours. And I think right now what they say that a volunteer hour is worth something like $23 and some cents. So that's also, part of, what volunteers give back really is the value of that. So, and we know it's probably valued at higher than that, but those are national data that comes out, so, but it's nice at the district council level. It's great. The more data we have, the more we can better tell our story to our funders and potential funders about the good works that we do. One of the things St. Vincent de Paul has always kind of lacked in is letting people know how we serve the community, because we don't do it for the publicity. We don't do it. We do it because it's our vocation to do it. And I say we, because I am a Vincentian too. But if we don't tell people, they don't know how they can help us. And, without being a Vincentian, there's other ways they can help. And the financial assistance is always important. Any other questions? Anything else? Otherwise, I think we should be heading back to the rooms right now. I'm going to just let everyone know that we'll be closing in a minute. But you're welcome to leave and go back to the main room. So, I'm going to go head back to the main room, and I will see you all there. Thank you very much.
Is there a prompt to go to the main room, or just exit?
I just broadcast a message. You can just leave the room and go back, and then I'm going to actually close all the rooms in about 30 seconds. So I'm going to kick everyone out anyway. So.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Doris.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For your technical advice.
Thanks, Danny, for attending.
Well, thank you, Gloria. I'm going to be calling you more here.
Call Doris. Call Doris. She does the treasurer stuff.
All right, Doris.
So how do I get out of here? Leave room.
You can just say leave room. Yep. So, okay, everyone's making their way back.
Okay.
Well, we had a terrific workshop.
We did too. We had people with different levels of understanding. Larry's a great source of knowledge. And Doris was great. So we had a good time.
At least he fools a lot of people.
But that you can't get past that halo, Larry.
No. That's why I have long hair, because you can't see these points sticking up.
So Sheila,
Sure.
how long have you been treasurer? I mean, secretary. Sorry.
Oh, about a month.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
Sheila's great.
Oh, thank you, Katie.
Yeah, you are good.
Excellent.
Joyce was absolutely terrific.
So I think we're all back because I kicked everyone out of their rooms.
Steve? Can you eavesdropping?
How did I know?
Yes.
Because you can tell by your spirit.
By my what?
Your
By your
spirit.
spirit.
Oh,
So everyone, thank you so much for your participation, and I hope it was valuable. If there's anything that we can do to improve these sessions, please let us know. All of the sessions were recorded, so we will be compiling those and putting them up on the YouTube channel. If there's stuff that went over that you want to revisit, etc. So we appreciate everyone's time. Any comments, questions, major concerns, something that just is going to keep you up at night if you don't get it off your chest? Within reason. Like
Claudia,
world hunger, all that. Yes. Yes. Renetta.
Claudia, I wanted to thank you for your assistance.
Oh, no problem.
But I was surprised. This is the first time we had some confusion. We didn't have any in the previous meetings. So I don't know what happened, but if maybe we can avoid this situation in the future,
Right.
will be great, because a lot of people was lost, not just
Yes,
me.
they were.
Yeah. Yes. And we apologize for that. And we will do our best to not have that happen in the future.
Well, maybe it was like an amazing grace. They were lost and now are found.
Thank you, Jorge. Thank you.
Gloria, you said it's
Yes.
on YouTube. How do I log in on YouTube under what
Okay.
name?
It's under the St. Vincent de Paul of Contra Costa County YouTube channel. The links to the YouTube channel is at the end of all of the newsletters that we send out. I don't know, Danny, do you get the monthly newsletter?
I just got it recently, but
Okay,
not-
so it's on the last page is the link to the YouTube page.
Okay.
So give us a week or so to kind of gather everything together and get it up there.
Okay.
But, okay.
The other thing that's on that last page is there's a lot of resources in the Dropbox on all the different roles, on the spiritual advisor, on the secretary, on the presidents, the roles, and defining some of those things. So make use of those, because there's some really good stuff in there.
Yeah, the link to the Dropbox is there as well.
So I have a little prayer that I was hoping to read, unless Karen wanted to have something she wanted to read.
No, I was just going to close with intercession. So let's go with your prayer.
Okay. Now, Frank Winook will recognize this prayer. This was a prayer that we used at our Bible study, and that was also used at the retreat that we had this last week. It's a prayer for the release of the Holy Spirit. Jesus, I know that I'm yours and you are mine forever. I thank you for sending your Spirit to me, that I might have the power to live this new life in you. Stir up your Spirit in me. Release your Spirit in me. Fill me with your presence and your power in my life, that I might find delight and comfort in prayer. Jesus, release within all of us your Spirit. We desire to love as you love, especially the people you call us to share life with, as well as the weak, the poor, and the needy. We desire to be peacemakers, to be reconcilers, to be able to forgive as you have forgiven us. We desire to be your hands, your heart, your flesh, your spirit, your body of the church. Release within all of us the gifts of your Spirit, so that our lives will reflect your goodness, your truth, and your power, so that together we may experience the peace, love, and joy that you have promised us. Fill us with your Spirit, Jesus. We wish to receive all you have to give us. Amen.
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 Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
All right, everyone, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Careful for the pending storm tomorrow. Sorry, I mock the weather people. That's just.
Well, Claudia, we can only hope that we get rain.
I hope, I'm hopeful. I really would like to see it.
Is it true that in Walnut Creek they're putting up plywood on the doors of the stores?
I think so. Sandbagging all over.
Sandbagging.
That creek's gonna rise and flood, so anyway.
Bye.
All right, thanks very much, everyone. Have a blessed day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you. God bless you all.
God bless you all.